Gaming motivation is a way for you to figure out if some of the best rated games out there are a good fit for you. This is done by rating a game based on the 6 main motivators as determined by Quantric Foundry, and if you want to know what your motivations are, there's a link in the description where you can test yourself. Today we have Phasmophobia, a game so popular that not only did it win the Best Debut Game Award at the Game Awards 2020, it also got a 16 out of 20 from the most well-known publication out there, jito.com. Let's get right into it. It's difficult to give a horror game like Phasmophobia an accurate rating when it comes to action. The gist of the game is that you're a ghost hunting team who is tasked with traveling to different haunted sites to gather any evidence of paranormal activity, which earns you money to buy new tools to help you in the future. You have several different kinds of tools at your disposal, like a spirit box to hear the ghost talking to you, cameras that can see ghost orbs from remnants of the ghost, and UV lights so you can see handprints left behind from the ghost interacting with the environment. The longer you spend in the residence, the lower your sanity becomes and the more likely it is for the ghost to get hostile. You can raise your sanity by taking a limited amount of pills on each mission, you can slow how much your sanity lowers by turning on the fuse box and turning on the lights, and your sanity heavily decreases if another player dies or if the ghost interacts with you. If your sanity gets too low, the ghost can hunt, at which point the doors leading to the outside are locked and you have to pray that the ghost doesn't kill you and make you lose everything you brought. Psychological horror games are a slow burn, and this is no exception since you often spend most of your time either walking around looking for the ghost or trying out all the different tools at your disposal to see what the ghost reacts to. But when you're sitting all by yourself and you see the ghost appear right in front of you, or when the ghost is hunting and you hear the slow and steady footprints slowly making their way to the closet you're hiding in, the game does get intense. Each ghost also feels unique too, and strategies that work on some ghosts won't work on others. You might be able to slow a mare down by turning on the fuse box, but that would only make a djinn move faster. If you run and hide from a revenant, then it will drastically slow down, but moving away from a djinn only makes it faster, and you literally cannot hide from it. The unpredictable nature of each ghost combined with the massive consequences of dying makes every excursion a tense and exciting one. That being said, we did walk around aimlessly a couple times until our sanity got too low and we just decided to abandon the mission and start again. So if you're someone who is impatient or someone who prefers to be the one causing the destruction, this game isn't for you. For that, I gave the action a 3 out of 5. Phasmophobia came out around 3 years ago, and since then the developers have released tons of free hotfixes, updates, and progress reports about what to expect next. Kinetic Games details exactly what they changed in each patch, so the players can know exactly what to expect from the game. The developers also spoiler tag any of the more major changes in ghost behavior. That way players who want to experience the changes for themselves can read the patch notes without having to worry about finding out too much. Within the game itself, it's easy to find and join online lobbies with random people, however, I have had a lot more fun with friends. Each mission you go on has several different objectives that give you money and experience, so obviously the more friends you have on a mission, the more likely it is that you'll complete more objectives. But there is a couple things to consider. First, most of the time when a ghost hunts, it can only kill one player per hunt. Second, there's 2 kinds of chat options in the game. There's a radio that lets you talk to everyone around the map, and a local chat where only nearby people can hear you. And yes, that includes the ghost.
Don't forget to say goodbye.
Yep.
Did you just say the word while he was doing it?
Third, as long as you successfully survive the mission, your teammates dying don't hinder your rewards. Sure, it might be more efficient to communicate with your team to find all the evidence and leave together, but it's way funnier to try to bait the ghost to come kill your friends so that you don't die. Most of the time we had more fun messing with each other rather than trying to find out what the ghost was, meaning that sometimes you were competing with each other just as much as you were working together. It also didn't help that we weren't the best at the game either.
Oh, now I see snow. That is nice.
12 seconds later.
Let's not take in the scenery, let's go.
Nah, if I'm gonna die the way I lived. Oh, and that's happening today.
You spoke too soon, I hate you, I hate you. I hate you so much.
All in all, I think Phasmophobia does a great job at encouraging collaboration with your team and indirectly promoting a competitive environment for friends, and for that I would give Social a 5 out of 5. I feel like Phasmophobia embodies the idea of easy to learn, difficult to master. Most of the mechanics themselves are pretty simple to remember, the controls are easy to understand, and none of the objectives themselves are too difficult. A brand new player could theoretically start off with a basic understanding of the game, and within 30 minutes they could complete a map on their own. The most difficult part of the game, in my opinion, is trying to memorize everything. Each ghost in the game has their own weaknesses and strengths, and each map itself is different every time you play it. This could be in the form of tons of hiding spots that may or may not be blocked off, so you need to know where the closest open hiding space is at all times in case of a hunt, or the changing weather conditions that can directly impact the effectiveness of some of the observation tools either by lowering visibility or changing the ambient temperature. Some of the specific ghost abilities might also be frustrating for new players who don't know all the mechanics. Although most ghosts can only hunt when the average sanity is below 50%, a demon can theoretically hunt at almost any time, which could result in an extremely quick death. One exception is the Mimic, who always produces the ghost orbs in addition to 3 other evidence types. A new player might only find the ghost orbs and 2 other pieces of evidence and assume they're dealing with a different ghost like an Onryo, leading to frustration when they end up wrong. At the same time, some ghosts have such unique weaknesses that pros can identify them without without any evidence whatsoever. If you use the parabolic microphone item and hear a unique scream from far away, or if there's a hunt in multiplayer, everyone is inside the building, and the ghost walks past you to attack someone else, you likely have a banshee. And if the 5 included difficulties aren't challenging enough for you, you can change practically every aspect of the mission for increased or decreased rewards. Although there isn't much potential for the long-term strategy in this kind of game, the sheer amount of challenge Phasmophobia provides nearly makes up for it. I give Mastery a 4 out of 5. Yesterday, Kinetic Games released a progression update which wiped out all of our levels, equipment, and money so that we could start fresh. At first, I thought this was annoying, having all that progress taken away from me and leaving me with even worse equipment than what we used to have, but eventually, this grew on me. The missions felt genuinely difficult, and it definitely felt like an entirely new way to play the game. Since it takes so much experience to level up, it took us hours until we got to the point where we could upgrade our first piece of equipment, the flashlight. The entire day we spent grinding for this was worth it. In all seriousness though, I think resetting everyone's levels was necessary, as this drastically boosts the lifespan of the game. Players can now look forward to leveling up since every couple levels unlocks a new piece of equipment or a new upgrade, and since they cost a lot of money to unlock, they're significant achievements when you earn them. The new update definitely deserves the title, the Progression Update. If you're like us though and want to level up quickly, then you should try the One Hunt strategy. Set up a custom difficulty where you boost your earnings as much as possible by getting rid of anything you don't need, like starting sanity and any evidence types for example. Then enter the Ridgeview Roadhouse, or any other house you'd like, and when the ghost hunts, train it around an object while you observe its powers to guess what it is. This will only work sometimes since only some ghosts have notable hunting characteristics, but it's very satisfying when you get it right.
Oh my god!
I won! I did it! Yeah, baby!
What is the...
That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
You know what, man? Whatever.
Pure
You gotta
skill
give me
issue.
this.
Anyway, since there isn't much completion but there is a lot of progression in the game, then I'll give Phasmophobia a strong 3 out of 5 for achievement, although I could see arguments for it being a 4. If you're going to Phasmophobia hoping to find a deep and intriguing story or a dark fantasy world, you're going to end up sorely disappointed. This game is unlike many of the post-FNAF horror games where there's some convoluted and contradictory story that developers beg YouTubers to make videos about to boost sales. All the effort in Phasmophobia goes into making a fun and engaging gameplay cycle of going to a property, deducing what ghost is there, then leaving the homeowner with both the ghost and the bill. I do want to say 2 things before giving my score though. First, the immersion motivation from what I interpret is a bit different than what the word normally means. Phasmophobia is extremely immersive, from all the small details like the nods to other popular horror works to the phenomenal sound design. However, most gamers motivated by immersion prefer worlds with a deep and rich lore and a compelling narrative. So while the gameplay itself is very immersive, it doesn't have enough of the other criteria to get a high rating in immersion. Second, a low score in a section doesn't mean that the game is bad. Just as people can be motivated to love games that are highly immersive with a large cast of characters, other people can be motivated to play games without much of a story or fantasy at all. When I give immersion a 1 out of 5, I'm not saying that Phasmophobia is bad because it didn't have some deeper meaning. In fact, I personally believe it might suffer if it did. What I'm saying is, the game just appeals to a different audience. I find myself torn on how to rate the game in a creative sense. Most of the tools in this game have one main way they can be used without much leeway, which limits how creative you can be, unless you actively challenge yourself to not use certain objects, like the flashlight. There are some secrets to find in the lobby and on different maps, like the Mystery of the Runes, but I don't know if there's enough here that could motivate creative players. You could argue that there's a sense of discovery on each map. There are hidden objects like the bones that award you more money if you find them, or the cursed possessions that could help you identify the ghost, or could get you killed. You can also set a sort of randomization on each map by making the fuse box off in the start so you have to find it, making the ghost more likely to constantly change what room it likes to be in, changing how many hiding spots are on each map, and how much evidence you can find for each ghost. Since the gameplay relies a lot on RNG to set up the mission, you have to change up your approach and be more creative with how you complete each task. However, this kind of creativity isn't for everyone, especially people who are most so fans of sandbox games where the gameplay is only limited by their imagination. There's also the fact that half of the creativity motivation is design and expressing yourself, and aside from the ability to change your avatar to a couple of models that you can't really see unless you're admiring your own dead body, there isn't much expression to be had here. Regardless, I think that people motivated by creativity can find some fun here, although it might not be the kind they're used to. For now, I gave creativity a 2 out of 5, however I could see arguments for it being a 3 out of 5. I first got Phasmophobia in early June of 2021, and in the 2 years I've had it, I've seen both the game and the community grow exponentially. And aside from the fact that they dropped the update in the middle of us making this video, which required us to spend the entire day redoing it, no, I am not salty. The sheer amount of updates and love in this game is evident. If you're someone motivated by tense gameplay, working with or against your friends, and you love memorizing the mechanics to become a pro, Phasmophobia is for you. There is a lot of achievement to be had here, and there is some creativity, but players solely focused on immersion should look elsewhere. Anyway, I hope to see you all next week. Peace out.